Hello, thank you for tuning in to Greenfield Community Television. I'm Bella Levavi, and I'm here with Pat Hynes today, speaking about a vigil that's going to happen on August 6th. Pat, thanks for coming today.
Well, thank you also for inviting me to speak about our August 6th commemoration.
Can you tell me what the event is going to be?
Yes, and this is a common event that's being held around the world and, of course, in many, many, many cities and towns in the United States. And it is a commemoration of the U.S. dropping atomic bombs on the cities of Hiroshima, that was on August 6th, and on Nagasaki on August 9th. And those atomic bombs killed roughly 200,000 citizens in both of those cities. These were not military targets. They were regular cities. And so a great tragedy. And I think that the initiation for commemorations across the world began with the mayor of Hiroshima, Mayor of Hiroshima requesting that across the world people remember the dropping of those bombs.
Totally. And can you tell me about what's going to be happening on the day of in Greenfield?
Yes, so this is on August 6th, 9 to 9:30. It may end a little bit sooner, but there will be a silent vigil on the Common, the Greenfield Common. We will have Sister Claire and some brothers from the pagoda, the Buddhist monastery in Leverett, who will also be there and be chanting quietly as we're standing in silence. And it's a sort of reverent silence, remembering the tragic loss of those people. Then around 9:30, we will march walk in a kind of silent vigil to the Greenfield Public Library. And at the library, we have an event that will begin just after 9:30 until 10:30, in which we have a number of things planned, speakers especially. There will be a lot of handouts and etc.
Great. And can you tell me about who the speakers are this year?
Sure. First, we're hoping to have the mayor of Greenfield. And I do want to say, because I don't think many people know this, that Greenfield is a Mayors for Peace city. Now that's independent of who is the mayor. It was established in 2005 by the first mayor, and it is sustained as a Mayors for Peace city. So we have, in that spirit, met with the mayor previously, not around August 6th, but around another bill in the House that has to do with nuclear weapons, to encourage her to create and sign a statement that would go to the congressionals. And she did that in the spirit of a Mayors for Peace city. So in that, following up on that, we have asked her if she would sign a proclamation that has been developed by a nuclear weapons and nuclear peace, nuclear weapons abolition organization called Back from the Brink, a proclamation that establishes that Greenfield is establishing on August 6th and August 9th to be Lifting Community Voices for a World Free of Nuclear Weapons Day. Because this was all last minute, if she is able to sign it and then able to come to our event, we would open it with the mayor reading this proclamation. And if I could, just a few lines from this proclamation.
You got it.
Okay. Actually, it's called a resolution. Whereas a world in which nuclear weapons exist and threaten our community and our humanity's very existence is a deeply unjust world. Whereas in 2023, U.S. taxpayers in Greenfield spent $4,300,796.19 on nuclear weapons, funds which we all know in Greenfield, which would be better spent addressing urgent community needs for housing, education, infrastructure, jobs, healthcare, poverty alleviation, climate resilience, and environmental protection. And just at the very end, whereas the people of Greenfield join the people of Hiroshima in their plea that all cities and citizens of the world unite together in expanding the circle of solidarity, transcending national boundaries, partisan politics, and religious creeds to strengthen the bond of human friendship and solidarity. And now, therefore, I, the mayor of Greenfield, do hereby proclaim August 6th and August 9th to be, and then she can choose, but it could be something like Lifting Community Voices for a World Free of Nuclear Weapons Day. Now, if she does sign this before August 6th, and she's invited to come and open our, it will be around 50-minute event in the Greenfield Public Library. And so you asked me who else would be speaking. Pocky Wieland, who is a member, a citizen here in Greenfield, has been a tremendous, beyond the U.S. Activist. She has worked with women in Europe. Women Say No to NATO is the group. And they have said no to NATO because it is an increasingly militarized organization, I mean, comparable to our Department of Defense. And they have been very aggressive in stoking and promoting war with Russia. And so women all over Europe have organized to say no to NATO. Pocky Wieland has worked with them, and so she will be speaking on that Western peace activist initiative. And we will also have, let me just check, we've just confirmed, Aaron Falbel, a local war tax resistor and peace activist, will speak also. And I've asked him to speak on, as a war tax resistor, having his war, what would be, the equivalent of war taxes, which he does not pay, what is the relationship between that refusal to pay and his perspective on nuclear weapons? I will say that Aaron wrote a most beautiful tribute to Randy Keeler in the Weekends Recorder, and recommend anyone who has a subscription to the Recorder to look at it. A third speaker is Sister Claire Carter. She is from the Pagoda and the Buddhist monastery, on the connection between Native American and Japanese Buddhist encounter and work for peace. There was a very prominent Native American who went to Nagasaki and to a Japanese Buddhist monastery there, and established a connection that had to do with what has been done to Native Americans here. First of all, the use of their lands for uranium mining, which are very contaminated, but also the theft of their lands, and what has happened, of course, to the Japanese citizens in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So to form a peace bond, she will speak about that. And that would be our program for that day, plus many, many good handouts that would be available for people.
So tell me, how many years has this been going on in Greenfield?
Well, I have been here for 14 to 15 years since retirement from Boston. And every year I've been here, there has been an event on August 6th and August 9th. I am sure there are ones that predated. The standout on the Common originated around 2003, and that's when the U.S., without any approval, began bombing Iraq. And so activists started a standout on the Common that has survived since. So I am sure that there were many of these August 6th events prior to the ones that I am familiar with. I can just say that other local cities like Northampton, I think it was 38 years that they had, they've been having the American Friends Society there having events. So Boston, I'm sure, for decades. So, and many other cities as well. Every Mayors for Peace city, no doubt, and there are 222 of them in the U.S., has been doing this also.
And how is this year different than other years of you guys doing this?
Each year you try to do something different, and you might say original, but that it's also extremely relevant. I think the Women Say No to NATO because of the conflict with Russia, which is a proxy war with NATO and the US with Russia, not just Russia and Ukraine. So that needs to be spoken about. Women Say No to NATO. I think that I will simply say why it is so important to have this event, and that is that there are 9 countries that have nuclear weapons in the world. 5 of those countries are at war. Now, that may be a higher number at war with nuclear weapons than I can remember. And so we have Israel decimating Gaza. And we have Britain, France, and the United States in Europe providing all sorts of weapons to sustain the war with Russia, providing them to Ukraine. And so we have more nuclear weaponed countries at war than I can remember. So that always heightens the risk of the use of nuclear weapons. And in fact, the Antonio Guterres, he is the head of the UN, has said that at this moment we are existing on a razor's edge, and he specifically meant nuclear weapons, and likely also because they're hard to sort of separate climate change, the severity of which is increasing. And I'll just add that why is it so important, or possibly why is it different this year? Last year, the group of scientists who since 1947 have been keeping what they call the doomsday clock. Have you heard of that? Okay, good. That's a good sign. I hope many others have as well. But in January, every year, they set the clock to reflect what they think is the sort of crisis level in the world because of war, nuclear weapons, and I think they've added now climate crisis to it. So last year they set it at the closest it has ever been since 1947, at 90 seconds to midnight. And this year I can't imagine that they would not move it forward with 5 nuclear weaponed countries at war. The 5th is Russia, of course, in this. So in January it will be very telling to see the assessment that they have of the risk of, and this is a risk of Armageddon, of complete destruction of the world, which these weapons are capable of doing. So I think this year there is a kind of heightened, if fear, but if not anxiety, about where we are at this point in the world. I do want to say that in 1947, General Omar Bradley, who was head of the Army, described the world as a world of nuclear giants and ethical infants. Very apt and still true, tragically. Only I think we always have to ask ourselves, who are those adults and who are those ethical infants? And I think there are many, many, many ethical infants. They simply do not have the power that these adults, nuclear power adults have in the political decisions they make. But nothing has changed with respect to that. Yeah.
And so tell me why this is relevant to your average person in Greenfield.
Well, I will just give an analogy. I had an initiative in Greenfield, which was to put peace signs in shops. You have one downstairs here at GCTV, which says, "Art, not war." A bookstore down the street says, "Books, not war." Others have just copycat, for example, has the word peace. And just finished the same project in Turner's Falls. In Turner's Falls, I interviewed a number of the people, as did someone, a reporter for the Recorder, and then interviewed me and then published a story on this. And the question was, what does that word peace mean to you? If you could translate it into issues or feelings that you have. And what I found was the most seemingly non-political shop owners had a lot to say about what, for them, what peace was. And I believe that's true for most people in Greenfield. I mean, you could ask yourself, what does peace mean to you? Or what do you think of as peace? Or how could you contribute to peace? Most people spoke at the community level. How could they make their community or help their community to be better? And I think so. I realize nuclear weapons is like a global issue. The decisions about it are above us. People can, for example, as we've asked the mayor to do, every mayor could do this, is issue this proclamation, but then also send it to your state congressionals and your federal. That's part of this, is so that the voices of Greenfield, the mayor speaking for them, would get to the state congressionals and to federal congressionals for our district as well. So I think it's a question of finding ways in which to have your voice heard, even if it's just using the telephone numbers given to you to call your senators and representative in Washington, et cetera. But I think building a strong base of community solidarity that most people are capable of doing in one way or another, through helping people, through volunteering, et cetera. But this can create a cohesion in a community, and a country of cohesive communities will elect the right person for president. Just to put in a plug.
And do you have anything else you'd like to add about what's going on August 6th?
No, I would just like to encourage people to come. We are also going to have in that event, and it is a very special, will be special moments, in a sense a commemoration and honoring of Randy Keeler, an eminent peace activist for decades in this community. And so for anyone whose life has been touched by Randy, we welcome you to come, and also we'll open it up for people to speak after we have a statement about his life. I think I would just welcome you to come, and if you can't, begin to sort of see what you can find out about this issue and what you could do in terms of writing your mayor, your senator, your state congressionals, and the federal ones as well.
Great. Mm-hmm. Well, you can catch Pat Hynes on the Common August 6th at 9 a.m.
Yes.
Thanks for having.
Sure, and vote for the right person. Okay.